So we were assuming so far, because you're allowed to do it outside, that it clearly doesn't get sanctified in the utensil.
Is it more of a Zman thing?
No, it has to do with the different
actual,
utensils
there's something that makes it
sanctified.
right. It's not makam. It's not. If it's outside.
If it's outside, then it was clearly not sanctified yet by any of the utensils or the. If it's baked outside, by the oven. So. If that's the case, that midas yavis leinis gadsha, so why does it have to be baked inside? So Amar Rava hiksha adam kasha shu kasha kabarzel. A smart over here, kasha over here means smart. A very smart and sharp person that's hard as iron, which means that he's can slice through logic like metal. Umanu Rav Sheshis. And who is this? This is Rav Sheshis. Sheshis was a student of Rav. It makes more sense if it's Rava, but it could be Rava was his friend. So the Gemara now says this was his question. He's the one that asked this. So the Gemara asks on the question, which means it attempts an answer. My kasha, what's the question? Dilma isarain leimakadesh. Maybe it's true that the dry measurement did not sanctify the flour, but taner makadesh. But the oven sanctifies it, and that's why we need it to be sanctified by the oven. So we have to do it inside. Yes, granted, it wasn't sanctified before we brought it in. But once it's in, it becomes and the baking of it is what sanctifies it. Eily kasha hakasha. Must be that Rav Sheshis had a different question. Vafiyasan b'fnim, that it was baked inside. Alma taner makadesh. That means that the oven sanctifies it. Ve'ein doiches es Shabbos, and then it says that it doesn't push off the Shabbos. If if it's sanctified and it has to be baked out of Shabbos on Friday, then when was it put on the table?
On Shabbos.
On Shabbos. It means it went overnight and by the morning it should become puzzle because it wasn't in the right position. So rather, are we supposed to say Ella here? And on this, Amar Rava, you skipped Ella. And on this question, Amar Rava, Hiksha Adam Kasha, Shu Kasha Kabarzal Mana Rav Sheshis. This was Rav Sheshis' question. Amar Rav Ashi says, my Kushya. What's the question here? Dilma Mai Bibifnim. When it says that it was baked inside, it doesn't mean inside the temple. It means B'makam's reason. It means inside, means that it was in a place where the Kayanim were. The Kayanim needed to make sure that it didn't become chametz. Because Kainim was the reason. Kainim work with alacrity. They do everything fast. And they were able to make sure that it shouldn't become chametz. It says it's a common phrase, Kainim's reason. It's a common phrase. And the Gemara then says, 1 second, what are you saying? You're retranslating Bifnim that it's not in the temple, but it means in the area where the Kainim would be working. Because we need the Kayanim to do it. It can't be done outside by the non-Kayanim. But it's not at Mamish in the temple. The question is, V'hadar Ravashi Brusi. Ravashi needs to be taken out. This Ravashi. It's not logical and it doesn't fit.
It's a mistake.
It's a mistake, yeah. I was trying to avoid that word, but that's what it means. Manavshach. Either way. Iyafia be'inan's reason. If by the baking it needs to be zrizim because it's not supposed to be chametz. So lisha varicha nami being zrizim. By the kneading it and by the arranging it, you also have to make sure it doesn't become chametz. You're making dough. You have to be careful by the baking. I understand it's hotter. And there's more, you have to work fast over there.
So the question stays? So
Ravashi's, his answer doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with the Mishnah. The Eily shavaricha lai being zrizim. And if you by the kneading and by the arranging of the dough, doesn't need kayanim because we don't need to. We're not careful with that. So why should we need by the afiyah? Ella the Ravashi Barusi. Ravashi must be taken out.
So the question stands over
the question stands. Why is one bifnim? Why is one beflitz?
There's no answer. Or he's going to answer it.
That's it.
He doesn't answer it later
no,
on?
this is not answered. Will the Gemara answer? I'm not sure. It ends right
Why
here.
would to say Teiku or something?
Because it still was up for debate, just wasn't answered here.
Do the next piece. Let's try to get through the next piece. Rabbi Yehuda says everything of the lechem apanim was done inside, and Reb Shimon says that it could have been done inside and it could have been done outside. Rabbi Yehuda holds, explaining here, that the bread needed to be baked on Shabbos. Reb Shimon holds that it was outside because he holds that the Tanur is not Mekadesh. He holds that it's not Teicha Shabbos. So therefore you can bake it outside. Amar Rabavo Barkana. Rabavo Barkana says, Ushnei Mikrecha Darshu. Each of them get their understanding from the same pasuk, which is very interesting. They're each going to read the pasuk and translate it differently. Now, the pasuk is in Shmuel. It's in Shmuel Aleph. What's talking about is that, remember the story, we read it on the Haftarah, Macha Chaydash. We read that David wasn't there, and Shaul asks, where's David? He said, he has a family thing, and Shaul gets upset, and so he has a sign with his friend Yonasan. David runs away, and while he's running away, and Shaul picks up a spear. Right? Remember that? While he's running away, he comes to the place of the Koyanim, and the Koyan comes out. Forget his name. He comes out and he says, "Why are you here without anyone with you?" So he says, it's like a secret mission. So, is there anything to eat? So they say, yeah, we don't have anything to eat. In Noiv. We say anything. He says, we don't have what to eat, but we have the bread that's on the showbread. And David Amel says, okay, that I can take. So, and there's a discussion there about him taking the bread. So in that verse.
So it must be it wasn't Kodesh.
So watch this. The verse says that.
But it also must be it was outside the Azara. Because Noiv wasn't in the Azara.
Welcome back.
This was right.
No, but this was the Mishkan was in Noiv at that time. Noiv and Givain. The Mishkan. This is after Shilai, and the Mishkan is in Noiv and Givain. So the Mishkan was in Noiv. This is during that time. It was 52 years or whatever it was. So the pasuk says that V'hu derechal af ki Yomi kadosh b'keli. It's in a way of mundane, even though today it's going to be sanctified in a vessel. Rabbi Yehuda Savar b'chol ashkichinu. That Rabbi Yehuda holds that he came to them during the weekday. It was Erev Shabbos, and they were baking the bread. So he finds them that they're baking a bread on the weekday. So Amalahu, he says to them, to the Koyanim, you're baking it on a weekday. Even though it's going to become sanctified in the vessel, because he holds that it becomes sanctified in the oven. So ifsale belina, you're making it puzzle. What are you doing over here?
So how did he eat it?
Oh, 1 second. It wasn't puzzle yet. They were baking it. The conversation here is that
But if it was Kodesh, how would he eat something that's Kodesh?
oh, he's going to have a het. David's going to have a heter to eat it. Yeah, because he
According
was famished. But there was still a conversation.
Yehuda.
Yeah, there's going to be a heter to eat it.
There
But
was nothing else over there in the whole
Right.
city besides Lechem Apanim.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
So, but he has a conversation. He's telling them, you're baking it on Friday. It's sanctified. It's going to become puzzle. Okay, Reb Shimon learns it differently. Reb Shimon savar b'Shabbos ashkechinu the kafel. Reb Shimon holds that he came there on Shabbos and they're baking it. And Reb Shimon tells them, Amalu loy derechol b'yisrael mevdei. Don't you need to do this on a weekday? Midi taner mekadesh, shulchan the mekadesh. You're not supposed to bake it on Shabbos. supposed to bake it on the weekday. It's not sanctified during the table sanctifies it, and that you do on Shabbos. So it doesn't become possible on Friday. So anything that you're allowed to do before Shabbos, you're supposed to do before Shabbos.
So it's machlokes.
So the machlokes is it baked before Shabbos? Is it baked on Shabbos? Is it Tanner Makadish? And it's totally the Zebazah. The Gemara asks, can we explain that David HaMelech found them that they were while they were baking it? Says that the Kohen gave him the breads that were on the table already, not while they were baking it. It means it was the bread that was taken off the table. It was already ready.
It was already on the.
He takes it from off the table, which was already meant to be given to the Kohenim.
From last week's bread.
Right, it was last week's bread that's now ready to be eaten by the Kohenim, so there's no more me'ila, it's not a sacrifice anymore. It was already ready to be distributed. Elamai derechol de ka'amar lahu. What does it mean in the pasuk when he says derechol? Hachi ka'amrulei. This is what he's telling. Hachi ka'amrulei. This is what they are telling him. Leka lechem kiyim lechem apanim ha'musarim l'fnei Hashem. We have no other bread. We have nothing that's mundane. We only have the bread that's in front of Hashem, and we can't give it to you. So Amalahu, David says, "Loimi ba'ihai." Not only this, the kivan denafik leim meila, because since it's left off the table, and now it's permitted for the kohenim to eat, so there is no more din of meila. Meila is when food that's sanctified, that should not be used for personal use. Is used, that's a violation. Here he's saying, no, it's already ready to be used for personal use. It's ready to be distributed to the kohenim. And derechol. So this is considered derechol. And I'm allowed to eat it because David is saying, it's in a situation where it's life and death. Elafilu hayich nami. But even the other bread, the Yomi Kaddish Bekeli, that was just put on havulei. Havuli. Or havulei, maybe. Havuli should be. Give it to me. The leichel, so that I can eat it, because even that has me'ila, I still can eat it, because mesukanu, because its life is in danger. So who was saying this? This was the opinion of this was how we're answering the problem. How could he say that he found while they were baking it? It says clearly that they gave him the bread that was placed in front of Hashem. So now we have to go back and say, so what's the machlokes? Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Begemara, Pligi. Rather, the machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon is just on their tradition. It doesn't have to do with the verse. We tried to say it was a verse, but really it's a tradition. Dekanami, I'll prove it to you that it's just the tradition of Diktani, because it says in the Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon, the fact that Rabbi Shimon says that a person should always train himself to say this expression, this teaching means that he's passing on a tradition that needs to be passed over accurately. And that's a proof that it's a tradition.
So it's not based